I found a college football bet that has hit 80% of the time in the right situation, and almost nobody talks about it. It's not a parlay, it's not a crazy long shot, it's not one of those fake systems where somebody says, oh, the trend's 94%, then you find out it happened 7 times in 2003. I'm talking about a specific college football betting profile. A spot where the public usually looks at the wrong thing. They look at the team name, they look at the spread, they look at the ranking, they look at who is favored, but the bet I'm talking about is not about picking the better team. It's about finding when the market is mispricing how the game is actually going to be played. So in this video, I'm going to show you what the bet is, why it can be so powerful, what filters have to line up, and how to avoid turning a smart strategy into a dumb gamble. Because 80% does not mean guaranteed. It means if the setup is real, the price still matters. Most college football bettors are trying to pick the better team. The sharper question is, how is this game actually going to be played? College football is one of the easiest sports to get emotional about. Big schools, ranked teams, huge spreads, rivalries, primetime games, public hype. And because of that, the market can get weird. People love betting favorites, people love betting ranked teams, people love betting overs because points are fun. People see one explosive offense and assume the game is going to turn to a track meet. But the market is not always wrong because it misjudged which team is better. Sometimes the market is wrong because it misjudged the game script. That's what this strategy is built around. The bet nobody talks about is not just take this team or bet this over. It's finding college football unders in games where both teams are built to slow the game down, run the ball, control possession, and shorten the number of drives. That's the hidden angle, because most casual bettors think lower scoring means bad offense. But in college football, lower scoring can also mean pace, play calling, game script, weather, matchup, and clock control. And when all of those line up, an under can become a serious spot. An under is not always about bad offense. Sometimes it's about two teams quietly killing the clock. Nobody likes betting unders, let's be real. Overs are fun, overs feel alive, every big play helps you, every touchdown feels good. You can watch the game and root for chaos. Unders are miserable. You're sweating every third down, you're praying for punts, you're screaming at defensive backs to tackle in bounds. You're annoyed when a team throws on 3rd and 2. And the second there's a 75-yard touchdown, you feel like the bet's dead. That's why the public naturally leans towards the overs. People want points. Sportsbooks know this. The market knows this. And in certain college football games, that public preference can inflate totals. That's where the opportunity can show up. Not every under is good. Most unders are not worth touching. But when the market gives you a total that assumes more possessions, more pace, and more scoring than the matchup supports, that is where the 80% profile starts to become interesting. Remember this, overs are fun, unders are where casual bettors go to suffer, and that's why the edge can hide there. Now let me be clear, I'm not saying to go and blindly bet all college football unders. That's not the strategy. The strategy is finding a very specific profile. I want games where the under has multiple things working for it. Not one trend, not one weather report, not one slow offense, multiple filters. The profile looks like this. Both teams run the ball at a high rate. Both teams play at a slower pace. Both defenses are strong enough against explosive plays. Both offenses are more methodical than explosive. The total is inflated because of team names, recent scoring, or public perception. The weather, if relevant, helps suppress passing or kicking. And most importantly, the implied probability of the under is lower than what the true probability suggests. That is the difference between a random under and a real betting profile. So don't bet an under because you feel like the number is high. Bet it because the game script says the number is wrong. So let's get to step number 1 of what you want to look for. First thing is the run rate percentage. First thing you want to know is simple. Do these teams run the football? Because running the ball changes everything. Running keeps the clock moving, runs shorten the game, runs reduce volatility, runs usually create longer drives. And fewer possession means fewer chances for points. In college football, a total can look very beatable if you only think about points per game. But points per game does not always tell you how those points were created. Was it pace? Was it turnovers? Was it defensive touchdowns? Was it short fields? Was it a weak schedule? Was it overtime? That matters. If a team is scoring a lot, but doing it through long run-heavy drives, that does not always mean they're going to be good for an over. It might mean they're controlling the game. And if the other team also wants to run, now the clock becomes your friend. So the first thing for the run rate, what we want to look for here is for the percentage to be 55% or higher. For the run rate play percentage. Now, if you guys stay to the end, I'm going to show you exactly where you could find this information at, so it's easier, and that way you could see exactly where this number comes into play. So this means if a run rate percentage for play percentage is 55% or higher, that means the team primarily looks at running the football, and that's what you want for your first step. Now let's go ahead and jump to step number 2 here, which is going to be pace and play per game. Now this might be the most important part, because totals are not just about efficiency. They are about opportunity. A team can score efficiently, but if they only run 60 plays, that's a very different team than somebody that runs 85 plays. More plays means more chances for explosive gains, penalties, turnovers, touchdowns, and garbage time points. Fewer plays means the game has less room for chaos. So I want to look at plays per game, seconds per snap, and overall tempo. If both teams are slow, that matters. If both teams snap the ball late in the play clock, that matters. If both teams are comfortable playing a grinded out style, that matters as well. The public might see two teams averaging decent points and assume an over. But if the pace is slow, the total might be asking for too much scoring on too few possessions. That's where the under can actually have value. So you want to make sure that you're looking at offenses that have 67 or less plays per game. That is your threshold, 67 or less. Because that means these teams are methodical. They let the play clock, run out. They put together a play. They don't do no hurry up. They're not doing any of that stuff to create, a lot of possessions and extra chances to score. Now let's go ahead and get to number 3. I am going to show you guys an example game as well. So that way you guys can see exactly what it looks like to identify one game that fits all this criteria. So step 3 is going to be limiting explosive plays. So you want to look at the opposing defense's yards per play. Now this is important because you can handicap the pace perfectly. You could have both teams that run the ball. You can have a beautiful underscript. Then one busted coverage turns into a 68-yard touchdown and everything changes. That's why I want defenses that limit explosive plays, not just defenses that have low points allowed. I want to know if they prevent the cheap stuff. Do they keep everything in front? Do they tackle well? Do they limit yards after catch? Do they stop explosive runs? Can they make the offense drive the length of the field? That matters because an under can survive first downs. It can survive field goals. It can survive a few long drives. What it struggles to survive is 2-play touchdown drives. So if both defenses limit explosive plays, that supports the under profile huge. So your threshold for opponent's defensive yards per play needs to be 5.3 yards per play or less. That's the threshold to know if a defense is going to limit explosive plays. Now this is a bonus step, step 4, that you don't always need to know, but it helps to just have it in your favor. And it's red zone percentage. Because a team can move the ball and still be good for an under if drives end in field goals instead of touchdowns. That is why I want to know, does this offense finish drives? Does the defense tighten up in the red zone? Do these teams settle for field goals? Does the coach get conservative inside the 20? Are they run heavy near the goal line? Do they struggle in short yardage situations? This is huge in college football because one drive ending in 3 instead of 7 can completely change the total. If both teams can move the ball but struggle to finish, you can get a game that feels dangerous but still stays under. The scoreboard might show long drives, but not enough touchdowns. That's exactly the type of game under bettors want. So you want the red zone percentage to be 85% or less. That's your target number for red zone percentage. Now before we get into an example of exactly what type of game fits this criteria, if you want to just plug these filters in and not do any manual work whatsoever, and you just want the answers given to you in seconds, then I suggest you use the Linemaker AI, which is a chatbot that I created specifically for sports betting, that you could just implement the filters that I just taught you right there, and it'll just spit out the answer to you. If you want a trial to check that out, make sure you click the link down in the description. Now here's the example that I want to look at. We're going to look at Notre Dame versus Wisconsin. The total on this game right now sits at 48.5. That's what the total sits on. All right, now let's go through the filters to see if this matches what we're looking for. So Notre Dame for run percentage is 55.68%. So that passes our filter for the run percentage for Notre Dame. Wisconsin, they are 58.61% for rushing offense plays percentage. So first step clears the filters that we wanted. Okay, both teams run heavy. That's what we want to look at. Second filter, plays per game. Let's take a look at Notre Dame and let's take a look at Wisconsin's plays per game to see if they meet the thresholds. Notre Dame snaps 63.3 plays per game. Wisconsin, 60.8 plays per game. So both of those meet our threshold for step 2. So we went through 2 steps now. So far, this is looking pretty good. Now, step 3. Do they meet the criteria for their defenses limiting big plays? Notre Dame gives up 4.4 yards per play. Wisconsin gives up 5.2 yards per play, which is right on our threshold of 5.3. So, filter number 3, step 3 passes. We got 3 steps to pass right now. We're looking pretty good. Now let's take a look at our bonus filter here for the red zone percentage. Do these teams convert at a high percentage in the red zone or not? Surprisingly, Notre Dame, 76.36% of the time they convert in the red zone, which is not that great. And Wisconsin's kind of right behind them at 77.26%. So even our bonus filter, this meets both the criteria for the bonus filter as well. So Notre Dame versus Wisconsin cleared all 3 steps, all 3 filters, and are also our bonus one, which is the red zone percentage as well. Now, once we do that, does that mean that we just go up here and now we bet the under 48.5? No, that's not what we do. And there's a reasoning behind that. And the reason why is key numbers. We have a key number here of 48. So what we want to look here is we want to look at bypassing the key. So 48 is a key number. 51, 52, and 55 are key numbers. So for us to get the safest bet here, we would have to go under 55.5 points to surpass all the key numbers, which that line for the odds for that are currently at minus 280, which gives us an implied probability of 74%, where we have a true probability through those filters that I just showed you in those steps of 80%, giving us a gap of plus 6% of an edge. And that right there is how you exactly find which under that you're going to place when it comes to college football. Now, the easiest way to find this information that I just showed you guys in each one of those steps, if you want to look them up individually or all together, is to use the Linemaker AI sports betting chatbot, where you could type in what college football teams have the most pace, have the least paced, give up the most yards per play, don't give up the most yards per play, and it'll literally spit it out within seconds for you. So if you want to try out to check that out, make sure you guys click the link down in the description. As always, I'm Frank with Linemaker Sports. I'll see you guys in the next video. Till then, I'm out.